Good evening, everyone. It's time for Monday Night Live. Thank you for joining me. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Yes, it's Monday. It's Monday again. It feels like I just did this, but that was a week ago. So here we are again, Monday Night Live, and tonight we're going to talk about rice paper. I don't know how many of you maybe own rice paper and you've never used it, or maybe you've seen rice paper and you're like, I have no idea what to do with it. How do I use rice paper? Well, I'm here to answer some of your questions. So Glenn is here. He's backstage. He can see your comments. He is in the chat so we can answer your questions. So if you have questions, make sure you put them in the chat. He'll pop them up on the screen. I'll give them an answer. And then if you're looking for a product, he can also grab that link off the online store to help you out. Now, I just want to remind you, I'm talking about rice paper tonight. So that is today's demo deal. We're giving you 40% off rice paper. And we have so much to choose from, and it's all gorgeous. Everything I have here tonight is in stock. I made sure I only grabbed stuff that you could actually get your hands on. So 40% off rice paper, and that does include the blank rice paper. I'm not going to use it tonight, but we do have sheets of 15 by 15 inches of rice paper that is included in the sale. And you can also get that 40% off. So yeah. So what I'm going to do, let me flip over to my overhead camera and let's get started because I got a lot of stuff to share. So let's, whoa, that was a little jerky. Okay, there we go. Let me just move that a little bit closer to me. Perfect. There you go. So we're talking about rice paper. Now, what is rice paper? Rice paper is a fibrous paper that is made of fiber. So you can probably see it there. Yep, it's made of fibers, but it's really strong until you add water to it, and then you can take it apart. And I will show you how to do that. Yeah. Okay, so I've got a bunch here. I'm going to be talking about those in a little bit. But what do you do with rice paper? Well, you can make cards, and I made one. Don't look too close because the glue's probably still wet. But this was one sheet of rice paper. And let me put them down so you can see it. Oh, here, let me get rid of these first because it'll be a little bit easier to see. I like using rice paper for cards. So if I put this together like so, this was one sheet of rice paper. Oh, there we are. This was one sheet of rice paper that you see there. Oh no, sorry. There we go. That makes a little bit more sense. This was one sheet of rice paper. So I actually stuck it down to one 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. And the cardstock I used, it wasn't white. I actually used this Camellia from Prism Studio, 8.5 by 11. And now the rice paper was narrower than the 8.5 by 11, but longer than the 11. So narrower than 8.5, longer than 11. So these panels I actually cut down to 4 by 5, 5.25. I actually cut them down so they make a good card front. So this is the one card I made here. And look how gorgeous that is. So that is just rice paper in the background. If you've been watching our social media, you know I'm now completely obsessed with wax seals. So I put a wax seal on there. I put a little bit of the gold metallic thread that we carry. And then this is from the Dina Wakley Ledger paper set. So, and then I added a bit more jewels. There's a jewel my wax seal, and then I added some more of the seals there. But that was so incredibly fast to make. Now the wax seal was made. I have a whole bag of them. You can see them here, so they're ready for me to use. Right? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And look at that. And now I've got 3 more backgrounds that are all ready to go. So these are going to go in my stash. I've got a nice little Totally Tiffany 6x6 fab file, and I keep all my backgrounds in there. So you know what? If I need a quick card, I find a background, I add sentiment, I add a little like doodad hickey, and there you go, finished card. And it looks like a work of art. And all I did was I just glued some some rice paper down on some cardstock, and then I added it to my card base. Boom, card ready to go. So fast. So let me just show you how you do it. Let me just show you. I'm going to grab here. I'm going to grab this one. So this one is Stamperia DFSA 4756. Sorry, I don't know the name of it. They don't put the names on the packaging, but this is available. I looked today. We still have lots. I love these ones where it's just one pattern, but I am going to show you something to do when it's got a bit of an image on it. So I'm just going to take that out of the package. I am going to grab a piece of this cardstock, and this particular Prism cardstock. Oh, I've already taken the sheet out, so I don't know. Most of them are 80 pounds. Some are 110. This one, I can't tell you what it is exactly. So if I lay this down, you can see it's more narrow, but it's longer than my 8.5. So I like to center it. Sometimes I don't get it completely center, and that's fine. But what I am going to do now is I'm going to take a collage medium. Yeah. So I looked through my stash. I actually have a few. I know you're probably surprised at that. So a gel medium, a collage medium, another collage medium matte. I like the matte look, but you could also use a gloss gel. Prima has a gloss gel if you like more of a glossy look to it. I prefer the matte. There is also a rice paper glue from Stamperia. I prefer the gel medium or the collage medium myself. That's just me. Okay, so I'm going to open that up. I'm going to grab, this is my Dina Wakley. I like this brush. It's nice and wide. I can cover a big space in a little amount of time. So what I'm going to do, I'm grabbing a lot of collage medium because I'm going to be putting it on a big space here. So I'm actually going to put it onto my cardstock. I could do it directly to the rice paper, but the rice paper doesn't have much weight to it, and it can get a little flimsy and a little harder to deal with when you've got the collage medium on it. So when I'm putting it on cardstock, I will just go directly to cardstock with my gel medium. Put a nice thin coat over that entire space. There we go. Now I'm going to take my rice paper, and I am going to lay it down like so. And now I'm going to take the collage medium and I'm going to go over top because we're going to split. So if you're going to do this, this also allows you to put paint over top and it won't soak in. You could spray it and it won't soak in. Oops, must not have put too much. Must not have put enough collage medium on that corner because it lifted. So I'll just lift that up and put that there. So I'm just going to go back and forth, make sure there's no bubbles. There we go. So that is how I would use rice paper to, yes, the Vicki Burke Bouton also works really well. I just don't have that one. So there you go. Now, once this dries, I can cut this down and have 4 card backgrounds. So I'm not going to bore you sitting here with my heat roll waiting for this to dry because it does take a little bit because we used a lot of adhesive on it. But that's all you need to do. That's it. So if you find a rice paper that you like, put it on some cardstock, cut it up, and you've got 4 beautiful backgrounds. So I'm just going to set that just aside. We can come back to that later if we've got time. So I'm just going to clean up the gel medium off my mat because I don't want everything sticking. Okay, so say you want, here's one like this. Here, this has got a lot of going on with it. We've got the ballet slippers. We've got this going on here. Gorgeous, love it. But maybe I don't want to use it like this. Well, how am I going to use it? Let me show you. Let me just open this up. Perfect. This one I think would make a great scrapbook background. So I'm actually going to, or not scrapbook, a great, oh my goodness, background in my art journal. So I'm going to look through here. I've got a little bit of white paint on this one. I'm going to use it on here. So what I'm going to do with this, I want to isolate this part, and then I'm actually going to take out the ballet slippers. How do I do that? Let me grab my, do I have a water brush here? I do. So I'm going to grab a water brush. That one doesn't have too much in it. Actually, let me just grab this brush. This is a nice clean brush, nothing on it. I've got some nice clean water beside me. I'm going to dip my brush in there, and I am going to just go down the center with a bit of water. Could I take my scissors and cut this? I could if I wanted a nice clean edge, but I want to actually have a nice kind of fuzzy edge to it. So I've just gone right down this middle portion here, a lot of nice clean water, and all I'm going to do is just gently start pulling those fibers apart. Yep, just pulling it apart like that. Fingers on either side. Give it a gentle pull, and you'll see those fibers just start to just release from each other. There we go. So I don't know if you can see that edge. That's the edge I like. Now, like I said, yeah, I could take scissors. I could make a nice clean edge, and that's fine. So now that I've got this edge and like that, I actually want to do the same thing to this outer edge. So I'm just going to go right along that edge. And don't forget, if you just put them in the comments, Glenn will grab them for me, put them up on the screen, and I can answer them. So now I'm just going to come along. I'm going to hold this side and just pull with my left hand, just to pull and get those fibers loose. There we go. Perfect. Love it, love it, love it. So there we go. So both sides have got this nice kind of jagged, feathery edge, which I love. So if I bring my art journal back in, I lay it on here. If you're wondering why I didn't feather the top and the bottom, is because I already knew it was bigger than my journal, so I wasn't going to waste time. So I'm just going to lay it in my art journal, not up against this edge, not up against that edge. We're just going to lay it there, and we're going to do the same thing with our gel medium. Just come in here, put some gel medium on this page, and then I'm going to lay my rice paper on there. There we go. And now I'm going to gel medium over top. Well, I just need to lift up that edge because I didn't get any gel medium under that one corner. A little bit more down here. And there we go. We're all sealed. Now, it does go over the top. You can see it here, and it does go beyond the bottom. I'm going to wait until the gel medium dries, and then I'm going to take the top and bottom off. So I'm just going to leave that for a moment. Just going to pull that off to the side. Now I'm going to bring this back in. This is our ballet slippers. You can see them there. I want to isolate them. I want to take them off this background. So again, I'm just going to take some nice clean water, and I'm just going to follow just around that image. I just want to take that image out. So again, clean water. Just follow along there. It doesn't take long for the water to penetrate the fibers, so you don't have to let it sit forever and ever. Just a few seconds, 5-10 seconds. If you do leave it too long, it just starts to dry. So you'll probably, especially here in Alberta where it's fairly dry, this would dry fairly quickly in our climate. So depending on what the humidity is near you. Okay. So again, I'm going to put my finger on the image, and I'm going to use this finger to kind of pull away. I'm going to try and preserve most of that. So if I keep my finger on the image, I know I'm not going to tear it. Just going to just gently go around that entire image of the ballet slippers. So you can see how I'm pulling it apart like that. And I'm still getting that nice feathery edge. Love it. So back in the day, I couldn't even tell you what year it was, we used to have mulberry paper in the scrapbooking store I worked in. So that was kind of my first experience with fibrous paper. And I loved mulberry paper. I used it a lot. But I am really enjoying rice paper. Sorry, this is sort of like watching paint dry, watching me just kind of go around here, but here we go. Okay, things are starting to come. Now, maybe you're thinking, well, what do I do with all that leftover? All that leftover rice paper you're tearing off? I keep it because they make really good edges, and I'll probably use it on the opposite page of this art journal page that I'm doing. There we go. So it does take a little bit of time. You don't want to rush this because you don't want to tear into your image. So it's best to just take your time. Almost there. And it may not be exact. Oh, there we go. So there we are. Now I've isolated. Oh, you remember mulberry paper? Oh, I love mulberry paper. I used it a lot. So there, now I've isolated those ballet slippers from the rest of the paper. So if I bring this back in, sorry, this is still wet, so it's curling up on me. I'm just going to give it a bit of a, there we go. So if I wanted to lay this now on top, yes, rice paper will adhere to wood. Yes, I've actually done that. Works beautifully. So I think I might actually do it along the edge there, which I really like. Very cool. But if I wanted to put it on here, it almost disappears a little bit. Do you see that? And if I was to put my matte medium on there, it is going to kind of disappear. So what I usually do is I will put a little bit of gesso on. Hey, Lori, how you doing? So I'm just going to let me grab another brush here. Leaning over to find another brush. Here we go. So if I wanted the rice paper to kind of pop off a little more, I'm going to add a bit of gesso to that, just kind of in that area. I might go beyond it, but you know what? That's fine. So there, if I take it on there, now it's going to give it kind of a white background to sit on, and it's going to pop off. It's not going to blend into that background. I'm just kind of going to lay this on top just to see if yeah, that's pretty good actually. Might need just a little bit more on this side. There we go. Can you tint the white gesso? Yes. Yes, you can. Okay, I'm just going to give this a quick dry. Just dry my gesso. So if I lay that on there, now it's going to give it something to sit on, and it's going to pop off. So again, I'm going to take my gel medium. Lay that on there, and then gel medium over top. What I really like about rice paper is it's so lightweight, right? Like, look at that. I just love that. That makes me so happy. So now this leftover that I have from going around the ballet slippers, I could use on this other side. I'm just going to kind of gently kind of tear it apart. So I could use it to kind of frame this other side, and then it's going to kind of draw everything in. Everything then is going to make sense. It's going to look like it belongs there. And again, I love the torn edges. The torn edges make me so happy. So again, gel medium down that edge. And then I'm just going to lay that on there. I'm not going to go up right to the edge because I didn't go up to the edge on this side. And the gel medium is quite forgiving. So if you lay something down and you're not particularly happy with it, just gently lift it up. Yeah, I like using the gel medium behind these because it does kind of give it, I don't know, it almost makes it look like it's lit from behind. It makes it pop off, right? Okay. And whatever you do, don't lay your brush with the gel medium on top of your excess rice paper, which is what I just did. Okay, so love that. Like, look at that. That looks so nice. And then I've got another thin piece, so I think I will put that down here. Just have it run up to this edge. And don't forget, I am going to take this bottom edge off. Does matte medium and gel medium what? So I see your thing there, Sarah, or Sarah's aunt, I guess. You're not Sarah, you're Sarah's aunt. I don't know who that is. Sarah's aunt. Okay. So again, I will lay that on there. Overlap it a bit. Go across the center of my book. There we go. And I'm going to gel medium over top. And I didn't get gel medium under there, so I'm just going to add it and lay that rice paper down again. Look how this page is coming together, and look how fast that was. Yeah, now, the paint on the background, that was just me cleaning my brayer off. I was doing something with my brayer, had white paint on it, so I'm just like, I just need to just brayer that off. Is there a difference in appearance between matte and gel medium when used over rice paper? No. No, not that I have seen. I don't see that at all. The only time I see a difference is if I'm using a matte or a glossy medium. I don't particularly like the look of the glossy. Lots of people do. Not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just not something that I particularly enjoy. So if you use a gloss medium, just know that instead of matte looking, it's just going to look glossy. But no, there's no difference between gel medium and the collage medium. They're all basically the same. They just have a slightly different name, just depending on the designer and the company putting them out. There we go. And I have just a wee little bit left that'll just finish this off perfectly. Sometimes things work out. Oops, more gel medium under there. Usually after I'm done this, I do check my edges just to make sure once it's all dry, that I do have enough gel medium. If I don't, I just go and put a little bit more down and let it dry again. And you can take your heat tool and dry this. I'm just going to tear that. Look how beautiful. Look how fast that came together. Oh. Isn't that fun? Look at that. Oh, I love it. Okay, so this edge, I'm just going to see, is it dry yet? No, it's not quite dry. I'm just going to take my heat tool just to dry it and show you how I clean that edge up really fast. Just going to give it a quick heat. You do need to be careful when you're drying matte medium because it can bubble. So keep your heat tool moving and just short bursts and keep your heat tool moving. Now, I will say with the matte medium, you can see when it's still wet because it's shiny. Once it goes that matte look, then you know it's dry. Okay, that edge dried first. Now, if you want to clean it up, you can certainly take scissors and cut along that edge and get rid of it. Now, I like to use my, I'm just trying to find it. I just used it, for crying out loud, and my craft room is fairly clean right now. Glenn laughing. He probably knows my craft room is not clean. I'm going to use... Oh, here it is, right in front of me. This is a sanding block. Go along that edge of my paper. with my sanding block. And I don't know if you can see that, but if you sand along the edge, it just breaks those fibers. And then it just starts coming apart like that. And it gives you this nice, beautiful edge. I find it easier than using scissors. So I just like doing this because I know I'm going to get a nice clean edge. And there you go. And there's the edge all by using that sanding block. So again, now I've got this little piece. Do I use it? I could put it somewhere. I'm liking how this page is looking right now, so I'm actually going to leave it. Some of the matte medium still needs to dry, but I will come in and finish this once all of that matte medium is completely dry. But there you go. Now you know how to use rice paper on an art journal page. Now I have another art journal I believe at the store, and I've done full pages. I'm just going to put that aside for right now. And I have a second page of this. So I'm going to grab, let's do that's going to be too small. I'm going to go back to this art journal. I'm going to show you another page. Now, if you want to do on a scrapbook page, now, yes, you can do this on a scrapbooking page, and I have done it. I have, I think, one set up at the store, but it's also really easy to do it as a scrapbooking page. It really is. Now, these ones that I'm showing are, I believe, I don't know, Glenn, can you see the size of these? They're slightly bigger than 11 inches, and so I think they're 8 by 11 and a quarter or something. But we do have one at the store that is bigger, and it is, I believe, 14 by, it's huge. Great for scrapbooking pages, though, because it'll cover the entire thing. Okay, so this one here, I've got this one, which is the same one I did for my card backgrounds, right? That one's actually almost dry. But I'm also going to use this, and I'm going to use it in conjunction with this hummingbird here. Okay, so I'm going to turn. I'm just going to give this a quick dry so it doesn't ruin my page. Okay, so I'm going to turn to another page here. I'm going to open this one up. Now, I don't want to use this as a whole page. Move this off to the side for a second. What I want to do is I want to take my brush with my clean water on it. I'm going to divide it into 4 because I want some corners. So I'm actually going to come and do one here. I'm going to do one here. I know you probably can't see this. I can barely see it, and I'm sitting like 3 inches away from it. There we go. So I've got one line this way, one line this way, and I'm going to do another line this way. So that'll give me four pieces to use in my art journal. Okay, so Julia, where did you make it wet? Here we go. So I'm just going to start pulling this paper apart. You can see when you wet it how easy that is. Now, like I said, yes, if you want to use scissors, you can totally use scissors. 8 1/4 by 11 3/4. I was a little off. And then there's one big one I have left. It is massive. Okay, so again, I'm going to hold this and pull that apart along that wet line that I did. So there's my 2 pieces, and now my other one is here. There we go. So there I've taken apart that one page, 4 different pieces. Love it. 12 by 17. Yeah, it's huge. Great for scrapbook pages, though, because it'll fill the entire thing up. Okay, awesome. I'm just going to set those aside right here. And then I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to look. I do want to isolate some of the imagery on this one. I love this one as a whole. I do. It's gorgeous. But for demonstration purposes, I am going to separate out this beautiful hummingbird. And again, just using that clean paper. If you've got a water brush that's already filled with water, that works really well too. So I'm just going to go around this beautiful hummingbird. I want to isolate him off the page. There we go. And then I think I want to isolate this flower down here. So I'm going to come along, going to go along this one edge. And I'm just going to follow the petals. Just clean water. That's all I'm using. Now, and people have asked me, well, can I just use scissors? Yes, you absolutely can. And that's very easy to do. You just use your scissors and cut around the image the way you want it. Rice paper is very easy to cut. I suggest using very sharp scissors, but yes, it's very easy to cut. So I'm just going around this image of the hummingbird. Now this water has been sitting on here a little bit longer than I did the last one. So it is like falling apart so easily. So that's why I need to really hold on to my image because I don't want to rip into that image. I want to try and preserve it. Good. I'm not too worried about having an edge on him because it's fairly light. And once I put that medium on, it will blend into the background. There we go. Okay, so there's my hummingbird there. I'm just going to lay him there for a second. And now I'm going to come and do the flower. This is gorgeous. I was actually looking. It was so hard to decide. I grabbed like 6 sheets of rice paper. And it's hard to decide. We've got so many beautiful ones. It's like, what am I going to do? We didn't have any in stock, but a Stamperia does have rice paper that's called cards. And if you put it on a piece of 8.5 by 11 and cut it into the 4, it actually makes 4 perfect cards, 4 different images, which I really love too. So there's my flower. Here's my hummingbird. Just going to set those over there for a moment. I'm going to bring back in my journal. Okay, so in my journal, here I have another page that I started. I don't know what I was doing. I don't know where this was going, but this is a page in my art journal that was already done. Don't worry about, if you can see this, don't worry about that. That's the rice paper from this one. I'll take that off later. So you can use it in an art journal that already has something on it. You don't have to start with the blank page. You can, but sometimes when I use rice paper, I like using them with pages that I've already started and maybe don't have any idea of what I want to do. Look how perfect he is with those colors. Oh my gosh. It's like I planned this and I didn't. I did this page like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Look at how beautiful he is. I like it. So now that I've got my four pieces of rice paper, I don't know if I'm going to use all 4. Now you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, Julia, the pattern's going the other way. This pattern's going up and down. This one's going this way. It doesn't matter to me. If that matters to you, then don't do what I'm doing. It doesn't matter to me. But if I wanted to use all 4, I could certainly come in and, do all 4 if I wanted. Here's that one. Don't know if I'm going to use that, but I'm loving this. Loving this. Yeah, so this background was simply done with paints and stencils. Like I said, I think it was probably one of those days where I just needed to do something crafty and didn't know what I wanted to do. So I just sat in here and I just made it. And I remember at the time that I made this, I didn't like it. But here we are. We're here a couple of weeks later. And now I open it up. I've got some beautiful rice paper. And guess what? I love it. Right? So thanks, Pat. Love your comment. That's great coming from you because I've seen your art journal. And my gosh, lady, you're a talent. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to add again. I'm going to add my. going to, now this time I do want to come right up to that corner. And now I'm going to matte medium over top. So you can see that even though this is a very dark background, once I add the medium or matte medium to it, it goes like semi-opaque, right? It goes slightly translucent. So you can still see my paint behind it, which is really great because it makes it feel like it's now becoming one with the page. It's feeling like it's just supposed to be there, like it was always there all along. Okay, so let me do this corner. There we are, just adding our matte medium there. Going to add that right into that corner. Here we go. Here we go again. Adding that down. Wonderful. Now I have this flower. I thought I was going to use it. I'm not sure if I'm going to or not now that I'm getting into it. I don't know. I haven't decided. Now, you know me, I'm all about textures. I love the textures. Textures make me happy. What do you want to do if you want, or what do you do if you want texture from using your rice paper? Well, I'll show you. Here, I'm just going to squish this up a little bit. This is just a piece that was left from around my hummingbird or my flower. So I've squished it up. Now it's nice and chunky. And I'm going to lay it down on my page. First, I'm going to lay some matte medium on there. And now I'm going to take my rice paper. I do want it to come off the edge because I'm going to, and now I can kind of gather it up and make it kind of like folded and rough looking. So if you want a little bit of texture, you can certainly do that with rice paper. So you just kind of crunch it up and then you lay it in your matte medium and you just kind of push it until you get some nice ridges and grooves in it. And now I'm going to go over it with my matte medium just to seal that on there. So yeah, you can get texture from rice paper as well. So because I can't waste it, I can't waste the rice paper. So again, I'm just going to tear off. There's some rice paper that was left over from this same page. Just going to tear off. Look at that. That's beautiful and gold. I'm going to keep going along the bottom here. Adding my matte medium. There we go. Again, squishing it up, laying it down, all kind of wrinkly. And now I am just going to just kind of smoosh that into my matte medium. And I like having the ripples and the texture on there. That's fantastic. And now I'm going to go over with my matte medium to make sure it seals on there and doesn't move. Oh, maybe you can't see that. I might have been off. So I'm just going along the edge there. I'm just going to move this up so you can see it. I still got some left, so I'm just going to come in. You can tear rice paper by hand as well. That's what I'm doing. This is dry rice paper. I'm doing it by hand, but you get a much more jagged edge in it. If you're trying to preserve a certain image, I suggest using the water. Okay, matte medium along that edge again. So let's squish this up. So now it's all wrinkly, and now I'm going to lay it in my matte medium and just kind of move it around, smooshing it in there. That's looking great. Do I have some more? I might have, oh yeah, here we go. There's another piece. That's good. And again, let's do this. Let's come up the side and scrunch it up, lay it down, and just make sure you've got some wonderful texture in that. Oh, this has turned out so well. I love the texture. I'm not worried about this edge. I can come in there with my sanding block and sand off that edge. You could also leave it. If you like the look of that, then just leave it, because I don't mind things hanging out of my art journal, string and stuff. There we go. Just kind of, I noticed some gobs of matte medium, so I'm just going in with my finger just to kind of clean that up, because that'll take a long time to dry. And there we go. So a nice edge. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I like Sometimes I don't want my rice paper to have texture to it. Sometimes I just like it to be nice and smooth. But if I've got extra like pieces hanging around, it's like, what can I do with that? Can I do something with it? I just noticed this clock here. I'm liking the clock, so I'm actually going to use my scissors and cut this out because this one I want to look fairly neat. So I'm going to come in here. Now these are my haberdashery scissors, and they are super sharp, and they cut through rice paper like a hot knife through butter, let me tell you. So I'm just going to come around this image and just, oops. Here we go. Not the neatest cutting I've ever done, but it's done. So there, now I can put that somewhere on my page. Do I want it up there? Maybe I'll put it up there. Oops, forgot about my, haven't adhered him down yet. I'm going to put that there. Add that little clock. I'm loving that. That's fantastic. Maybe I do want to use this flower. I don't know. Maybe. I guess our hummingbird needs to be doing something, right? Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Like that, maybe. And as soon as I saw this with the clock, all I can think of is time flies when you're having fun. Don't know why my brain is going there, but it did. Because this is kind of an awkward shape, I am going to add a little bit of matte medium to the back of that, just right there on my page. And then I'm just going to lay him down and put my matte medium over top. Oh, can't see the clock. Sorry. There we go. So there, I added the clock up there. And then I wasn't going to use the flower. And I'm like, well, my hummingbird needs to be doing something. So I decided to put the flower right there. So now I've got this imagery going across the top. And now I've got my hummingbird, and he's just happy-go-lucky. He's like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And then I've got all this nice texture going on down here, which I absolutely love. So easy, right? So easy to do. Now that I'm working in my art journal, just give me a second. I'm just going to raise this up a little bit so you can see it better. There we go. And it works perfect. This was a page I did a couple of weeks ago, didn't like it, shut the book on it, walked away. Tonight, look at this. I gathered it up, and look at how gorgeous that is. It just works perfect. I've got flowers. The colors work great. It's amazing. Now, what I'm going to do after this dries is I'm actually going to go in with a pen and just kind of outline my bird just to make him pop, because he is kind of like disappearing into the page, but that's fine. It's all right. I am going to go in later after this dries, and I'll just trace around him just to make him pop a little bit more. But there you go. Easy ways to use rice paper. So I'm just going to set that aside just for 1 second, and I'm going to come back. Remember this one I did at the beginning? Right? So, oops. Don't set your paintbrush covered in matte medium on your leftover rice paper, because it doesn't end well. Okay, so what do you do now? Well, I'm going to come in, and I'm just going to trim this up. I'm going to have my let me do the top and bottom. Going to do top and bottom. Oops, missed that part. There we go. I'm doing the top and the bottom because that's where the extra kind of overflows over the top. There we go. And now I'm going to do sides. There we go. So rice paper, you're not limited to mixed media using rice paper. Like I said, they make wonderful card backgrounds. They really do. I love using them for card backgrounds because sometimes you're feeling maybe a little bit uninspired, or you just don't know what to do. and you grab a piece of rice paper. There we go. Cut that edge. And now you've got like this beautiful background. It's so pretty. And it's so easy to do. And people will think you're an artiste. So I am going to I'm trying to remember how big this was now that I've cut it off. Oh yeah, nope, we're good. 5.5. 5 and there we go. There we go. And 4. Like, look at how beautiful these are for backgrounds. I mean, my goodness, you hardly even need to do anything with them. You can just put on like a, like some bling, a sentiment, and you are good to go. Like, I am just loving it. I love using rice paper backgrounds. I really do. Oops, that was done. Look at how gorgeous those turned out. And so easy. So now these are going to go into my stash. And now I've got 4 card backgrounds. Like I said, I want to add a wax seal to it. I can go in, I can grab out a wax seal. Maybe this one instead. That one's got the gold on it. Look how pretty that is. Absolutely gorgeous. A sentiment, good to go, right? So easy. I just love rice paper. And I know I don't use it enough, but I have enough of it that I should. Now, maybe you're thinking, where do I store my rice paper? Because, yeah, it's not like regular paper. They're flimsy. Let me show you what I do. This is the gel storage plate tin from Ranger. And now you're thinking, well, why didn't you store your gel plate in there? Well, I could, but I have an overabundance of collage paper and rice paper. So if I open this up, oh, here we go. So right now it's full of collage paper. Oh, look at it. It's so beautiful. But yeah, you can totally use it for rice paper as well. And it's all contained. It's not going to get not scrunched. It's not going to get bent. And now it is perfectly stored. And if I want my collage paper or my rice paper, there you go. It's all in here. Do I have a problem? Maybe, but I love rice paper and collage paper. So yeah, there you are. Even a good storage idea. So that is the gel plate storage tin, which can be used for gel plate storage. But I like to store my collage rice paper in it. Oh, look, there I am. Hello. Okay, there you go. I hope you've enjoyed that. I'm just going to flip back up to my other camera. There I am. They're perfect. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed tonight's demo on rice paper. Like I said, it's one of my favorite things to do because it's so easy to create beautiful backgrounds with just a few steps, and then you can make some beautiful cards. Like I said, it works great on scrapbooking pages. They're lightweight, so they don't add a lot of bulk. They won't add a lot of bulk to your art journal. They won't add a lot of bulk to cards or your scrapbooking pages. So it's very versatile. We love it. I carry a lot of it. We sell a lot of it. And so I hope you really enjoyed that. And don't forget, the demo deal is on rice paper, 40% off rice paper for the rest of today and all day tomorrow as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to tune in next Monday because I will be back with another Monday Night Live demo. Have a great evening, everyone. Bye.